Welcome back to The Grind. In this video, we're going to go through the SoulDance season branches and discuss what I think is best for players to get depending on where they're at in the game and what they are looking for. Obviously, I could not make this video at the start of the season because we did not have all the information, and so this video is really going to help you make decisions based on what you've already done, or if you only have enough sigils each season to get one or two branches and you typically save them till the end, then perhaps this video will be helpful. So quickly before we start, I'm going to outline what I have done this season. At the start, I did get the Marav and Base Boost branch because they were discounted, so I got both of those during the discount period. And then I saved all my sigils throughout the season, waiting to see what else came out, and I also spent quite a few sigils on the limited time branches. However, the main branches that came out throughout the season didn't interest me. I wasn't into Equester or Morta or Amelia. The Dracul Pylon does interest me, and I have started working on it, but I haven't completed it yet. And then the Hoiso branch interested me as well, but really the main reason was because of the repeatable node at the end that allows you to buy 4 Draconic Chests for 500 sigils. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. So typically what I recommend is to do all that you can on one of the discount branches during the first 2 weeks of the season. That's when most people spend all their saved up bronze and gold chests so that they can progress and get as much as they can for half price. It is definitely very valuable to take as many half price rewards as possible. Beyond that, once the half price discount is gone, you don't have to continue investing in that line. You can start saving up for other branches. Now, those who maybe got one of those or wasn't able to complete one, and they started saving and they're not sure which dragon to get. I know a lot of people are asking which legendary dragon is the best one. My personal opinion is that Luzak is the best of this SoulDance season legendary dragons. Sure, Marav is also a decent dragon and it's invoker, so you might have more fun with it. It might be more appealing, but I personally, when test flying Luzak, really enjoyed flying him, and I kind of wish that I could have got him. If he was the discount dragon, I would swap Marav for Luzak because I think I might actually use Luzak a little bit more, but then again, because I do have mythic dragons, I probably wouldn't use the legendaries very much. Equester is not bad for low-level players. The white lightning spell does deal a ton of damage, but really has no protective spells. And then Morta, kind of the same story. Lots of damage, but no defensive abilities, except for that short-range stun spell. If you bring in a reverse projectiles to deal with the howitzer, it does make Morta a lot more viable. And then Hoiso, unfortunately, just doesn't have the damage when Summon Papa dies, because Summon Papa dies very easily with the low health. You can't continue to summon it constantly because it does cost 2 rage. And so after about 3 times summoning it, you really have only killed a few towers, and then you have no way to deal damage. So I found that I struggled with Hoiso. So as far as legendaries go, I would pick Luzak personally. Now, if you needed a rider this season, Murtok is actually a very decent rider. It is one that you can select to have all the different types of classes, including Invoker. So if you don't have a rider for Invokers, this is a great rider to pick up. And if you'd like to see my Mortok video, check on my channel for the details of that. As far as defensive riders go, I personally do not think Amelia is worth it for the majority of players, especially if you're newer to the game or lower level. Maybe as a level 300 to maybe even just 400 plus players might have specific bases that want that. But then again, the Atlas rider, Cassima, Cassima is probably a better choice in general than Amelia if you do have access to Atlas. So now let's say you are able to choose another branch or a partial branch. You don't want to start a dragon line because you don't like any of them, and you don't only want a halfway because you might not even reach your tier. Riders typically aren't great as a half branch either because you can't get all their skills, and maybe you don't like the riders this season. If you can only finish a partial branch still, then definitely the Pylon branch with Electron bars is the way to go because you get tons of timers, you get lots of gold chests as well, and you don't have to finish the whole branch. If you're not able to, you can still get a bunch of resources from the first part of the branch. But even if you can finish a whole branch, the pylon gives so many resources. So it's definitely one that the higher level players should strive for because timers are a huge burden in progressing throughout the game, especially once you're above level 3 to 400, because it takes multiple tower level ups to actually increase your player level. So for the people who are getting a mythic this season, the absolute best way that, in my opinion, would have been to get both of the discount branches during the discount period, of course, if you could, and then getting the Dracul Pylon branch to get the remainder of your keys. Now, let's say you finished off the base boost branch during the discount, and then you started working on the Dracul Pylon, and now you finish that one. The next, or just a whole other branch. So you have 2 full branches done, and you want to figure out what is the best choice to get your mythic this season. Well, I would highly recommend getting the Hoiso branch and then getting the remaining 3 keys that you, or 4 keys that you need from the rider branches. You can get the first 3 keys from a rider branch, and those are the cheapest keys that you can get. Or you can get 2 from each, or get 3 from a rider and then get 1 from the remainder of this branch here, and that would get you your mythic. Now, why do I recommend getting the Hoiso branch? Well, if you are going to have extra sigils at the end of the season, or if you have rubies that will be left over at the end of the season, you can use those sigils on these repeatable Draconic chests. If you have rubies, you can open super sigil chests at the end of the season to get the sigils to get these Draconic chests. And that will actually be much more valuable to save these Draconic chests for the beginning of next season and open those during the discount period rather than spending rubies on gold chests if that's typically how you spend your rubies. Now, if you're really low level and you're struggling to get mythics, then spending your rubies on super sigil chests will help you get a mythic, but you do lose out on a lot of rewards from chest drops like PvP resources and base building resources. The Draconic chests drop a lot of PvP resources and a ton of timers. I will put a video in the description to compare, which compares the Draconic chests and gold chests and gives you an idea of what you can expect to get out of the Draconic chests. And so my plan this season, once I get the remainder of the keys that I want, I might actually also finish the Pylon branch in its entirety because it has tons of resources. But beyond that, I'm going to invest a bunch of rubies into super sigil chests so that I can get a ton of these Draconic chests to open up at the start of next season, because that will give me a major boost in my progression for next season as far as sigils during the discount period, which will be in addition to the gold chests I already have saved, but also just the resources that I need for progression in PvP and on my base during the next season. So that's something to consider if you have that option available to you. I know most players will not be able to do that because they might not have any rubies or sigils left over at the end of the season, or they have to make different choices in order to get their mythic. But let's say you've saved up a ton of your sigils and you're going for another branch. You don't like the riders, you don't like the dragons, and you've got more than enough sigils to complete Hoiso, which costs 18,000 sigils. Then you actually, if you're not getting a mythic, you might just want to invest in the Hoiso branch and invest all your excess sigils into this repeatable node to get tons of Draconic chests to help you out next season. This is probably one of the best choices you could make, especially as a free-to-play player, if you are not going for a mythic and you have the extra sigils to make this happen. Now, if you are not going to have the sigils or combined rubies at the end of the season to be able to get a significant amount of these Draconic chests, the Hoiso branch on its own is not worthwhile, and so you might be better off spending your sigils in the Dracul Pylon branch to get these extra gold chests and timers, which will help you a lot next season. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Let me know what you did this season, what the rest of your plans are. I am 1 key away, and then I will be getting Calivore, and I'll start making some videos on him. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.